Finally getting back on track with the 30. So I got myself another oil pump from my mate Bill. Just another standard twin cam pump. And I'm gonna crack it open and hopefully have better luck than the last two. Finally winning for once. So, what have we got? Nice pump, scoring, no scoring. Doesn't look like it's cracked. Just stinks, that's all. So, finally I'm getting somewhere. Yeah, looks good to me. Indicator's in good condition. Classic wear spot right there. That's your engagement. Foot focuses right there. And the outer gear is also good. Beautiful. So I'm gonna clean these up. These can be cleaned with the oven cleaner. The housing I won't clean the inside with because I'm kind of working with tight tolerances here, and oven cleaner will, well, make it not that. Just gone ahead and punched the front main out, which is rock hard by the way. Could probably break that. Close. It bends like metal, so no good. They come in the kit that I buy anyway, so the VCT gear and the other cam gear, or sorry, the seals, and the front main seal are all exactly the same, all three of them. So yeah, won't be using that one again. Next thing you want to do is take that out. That is the relief valve. There is a spring in there at a certain tension, it lets it out. So that's the next thing to pull off. That's it. So it's just a little retaining cup, spring, and that in there. There's no washer on these from factory as well. And, yeah, that is now a bare oil pump housing, ready for cleaning. Also got the head back from the machine shop, so it's being freshly serviced. It doesn't look very clean because I've just gone ahead and run through the intake valves one more time to make sure I had a good seal, because some of them looked a bit iffy. So I went and redid that, and I might as well power wash that while I've got the oil pump out there. Now I've got the oil pump outside, power washed it and cleaned it up. So this is drying in the sun, and the next project is to clean the pistons up. Had them all back in the box since they were measured up. So we'll pull them all out. The first thing to do is take the caps off them and the bearings out. That's the first plan. Might be having a bit of a bland moment, but I've only got 5 rods and pistons, and I don't know why. I'm missing a whole rod and... Never mind, oh my god. Well, that definitely makes me look stupid. I thought I lost one for a second there, and I had no idea where it was. I could have sworn it was in the box when I put them back in, but too far to my right when I took it out. So here's what we've got to do for prep. The inside of all these ringlands here are nasty. It's got all that carbon, garbage and dirt in there, and you don't want that. So the reason when you get that out is obviously, well, you want a nice place for your rings to sit, but that will actually push the rings outwards. So in a sense, that would actually open your gap up. It'll be stretching the rings out, and opening your gap. So you want a nice, clean, perfect ringland for your rings to drop into. Now, if I come to my pile of rings from motors I've rebuilt, I'll grab a 1.5mm ring, because that's what the RB30s and 26s use, which is a 1.5mm top and bottom. I'm going to break it in half. Now I've got a banana ring, which is on the floor. The reason you do that is so you can scrape this out, because obviously the best fit for a ringland is, well, a ring. So if you, nice sharp edge on there, and you can simply run it through and scrape all the pistons out. That is the easiest way to do it. Just like that, all the garbage on the bench there, you end up with, well, clean ringland. So once you scratch all that out, you have to clean it anyway, give it a brush and an agitator. But for now, that gets all the hard stuff out. So yeah, 5 more to do. 5.5, I should say. Finished cleaning the pistons up. They're all scraped out, looking all good. So they'll have to go for a final rinse, and I'll pull these apart because I don't know how long they've been sitting for, and I'll fill them with assembly lube. lube the pins, lube everything in there, make sure it's all good. Check the small end bushes, it should be good. The other thing I just wanted to look at was, while I had the rods out on the bench, is the comparison between RB30, RB25 and RB20. And to be technical, the RB30 is 152.4 millimeter, big end center to small end center, and the 25 and the 20 are 121.5 mil. And the pistons, 86 mil on the RB30, 86 on the 25, and 78 on the RB20. And that is a perfect representation of why that should only ref to 6,500 on a stock assembly, and you can sit an RB20 at 8,000 all day long, and it begs for more. Anyway, now it's out the way, I'm gonna pull the caps off to disassemble them. Well, I started pulling them off, but I can only show you how to do it. So if you just put some nuts, or the nuts, back on, you've got a bit of a gap there between the threads and the bottom of the rod plate, or the base of it. Get your soft hammer, hold the rod like that, smack each side, and there you go. And pull your nuts off. Simple, just like that. And you don't damage the bearings, don't damage anything. So all it's doing is travelling down a few mil just to crack itself loose, because they do tighten up down here. So yeah, easy as that. Just gone ahead and started popping all the pistons off of the rods, and I don't really go over how you do them. It's pretty simple. There's two circlips in here, one there and one there on either side of the wrist pin, and these are tapered, so there is a flat side, which is that side, and then there's a tapered round side, which is that side. And the flat side faces towards you, and the round is inwards, because the flat has all the surface contact to keep it in, and the round doesn't damage it. And to get these off, in the Nissan workshop manual, it says to heat the pistons up. So you get a heat gun and you spray it in the inside of the piston bowls there, warm it up nice, all around there, and then it should slide out. Now, it's kind of unnecessary, you don't have to do that. It just makes it a little bit easier to poke out. So I just get a little 3/8 extension, and I set it in there, and I hold it against myself, and I just tap away, and it just tap, 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 pops right out, no worries. Those are ready for cleaning, so I'm gonna run them through something at least, probably oven cleaner the rods because they're steel, and carefully clean the pistons. Now I couldn't borrow the ultrasonic cleaner off the postie because he's using it to reload bullet shells, so I'm gonna have to do it the manual way, which sucks, but we've got to work with what I got. Wrist pins, I'll simply just Scotch Brite over them, just a little rough spots, these bits of dirt and whatnot sitting there. And all the insides of the pistons here have this black stuff in the middle. That's because they actually shoot out of the top of the piston there, and then it cakes on, because all the heat, as you can imagine, is on the crown of your piston. So get that off, clean the wrist pins up, clean these up, bit of rust here, and that's it. Bit of ultra slick, press them back together, and there's 130 rotating assembly good to go. Pistons are all cleaned up, and the rods are all cleaned up, and they are laid out on the bench. Now these have cleaned up better than any piston I've ever pulled out of any RB. Literally looks like they've come out of the box from Nissan. They are pristine. For a used piston that I would assume would have probably 200,000 Ks on it, these are immaculate. So props to, I think his name was Daniel, who sold them to me. $100. That was a score. They look mint. Started putting the rods and pistons back together. Pretty simple process. I've done the 4 of them, got 2 left. It's really simple. It's getting a bit of assembly lube. I just love using Permatex Ultra Slick. Real good stuff. Lube your pin up, lube the inside of the small end and lube each side of your piston. So you want to grab your pin, chuck it in one side, straighten it up, and press it in so it's just flush on the inside of there. You grab your rod, now you have casting on one side and nothing on one side, and you want to match that with the stamping on there. So that is the back of the piston, matches with the casting on your rod. And you simply just pop it in and press it. Should also just locate when you pop it through, just a little bit, and then all you have to do is just push it in like that, and that's it. Push it through just enough to where it's in both sides like that, and then you just pop your circlips in, flat side faces towards you. Simple as that. That's it. That's all there is to it. So push the pin in, leave it there, and then it should come out about 3mm, which gives you enough room, kind of like in that gap, to locate your small end. And once that's sitting there, just press it as one go. That's it. Circlip on either side. Just make sure your circlips are seated, because if that circlip comes out, means your pin will slowly walk out and it will scratch up and down the bore until it literally chews into the next cylinder. And that is a catastrophic failure. I've seen it before, not in person, but pin has walked out and put a groove about that deep into the cylinder wall and trashed the whole motor. So yeah, make sure your circlips are in properly. Back in the box they go. The guy's address is on there that sold me to him, Daniel Ernie. He's the man who sent me these immaculate rods and pistons. But yeah, back in there until I can finish doing this block. So it's all wrapped up in glad wrap. Don't want to get them all dirty, and so is that. And then once I get my 2 thrust bearings back, it's time to assemble. Pretty keen to see this go together. Onto the head, which has a beautifully machined surface on it. Got to do the valve stem seals. They are one of the first things to go on, so you cannot forget to do them. Otherwise, once you've put all of this in and you haven't got them in, they're going to come straight back out. So I'll give this a quick blowout with the air gun to make sure there's no more metal chips in there after it's had a few power washes. And then, and those go. There is a little trick you can do. There is a proper tool for doing valve stem seals, which I don't have, I don't need. First thing you got to realize is that they are exhaust and intake. They have sides. Blue is intake, blue is exhaust, and brown is intake for Supertex, and I always use Supertex, nothing else. So you get a socket, which for these is 9mm, which fits on perfectly. All you do is put that on there, wiggle it on, and then I give it a tap with a soft hammer, and that's it. That's the easiest way you can press all of these on. Now I've got all the valve stem seals in, intake and exhaust, they're all pressed in, ready to put the Valvetrain in, and this is where it gets tedious. They're all in, all pressed in nicely. You'll know when they come down because they go solid, they go soft, 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 and then they'll hit a hard surface, which is then bottoming out. And with RBs, or well, quite a few motors, there is a washer underneath the spring. It is pretty crucial, so it's another thing people forget is to put the entire Valvetrain in and then realise they have forgotten to put the washers in. So if you think you might forget, put them right in your way and you'll always be reminded that they're there. Easiest way to put these in is just to put them on the end of a screwdriver and then poke the screwdriver in and drop it. Pretty foolproof. Just drop it in, just like that. Should also note there is a round side and a flat side. So just like the pistons, the flat side needs to go down in this case, where the pistons was out, but the flat needs to go down and round upwards. What I also like to do here, which makes it easier, is when I got my spring and my valve and my retainer here, you really want to coat these in oil. So coat both sides of your valve spring and then drop that in. Simple as that. You also want to not drop it in there, doesn't mean to do that. Put a bit of oil in there, sit it in there, and then that's it. You can put your valve through the other side with a little bit of oil on there as well. So that loops the seal, the bottom of the washer and the spring, top of the spring between the retainer, and then up there for your lifter. So it's not dry on startup. Got the spring compressor mounted up, pressed down. Now the way I like to do it is to put assembly grease on either side of the screwdriver, and then essentially you are gluing your keeper to one side like that, and then you can poke it in and it will stay there. It's pretty tedious, but it's the only way you can do it is with grease, otherwise you'll be here for hours. There you go, grease is holding it in place, simple as that. And that's all there is to it. It'll hold itself in place, let it beat slowly, make sure it catches and it's tight, and you're done. Not really, still got 23 to do, but that's all there is to it. That would be 12 done. That's the full intake side. Looks a lot cleaner when they're actually in there, instead of having just big empty holes. Anyway, 12 more. That's a complete head. And that is a very flat, perfectly machined head. By the way that light bends off it. That is perfect. So, I've got a pretty much complete head now. Just need to clean the lifters out, which is sitting in here. They need to be cleaned and bled, and then ready to drop in when the time comes. Otherwise, if I put them in now, they'll just fall out. So that's another day's job.